Federal party leaders continue to make more promises today and one day ahead of the first candidates debate.
And our Glen McGregor joining us now. All right, so Glen, new plans being announced today, including support for workers as well as standing up for seniors.
Yeah, a bit of a lower temperature day on the campaign today. All the leaders doing one single event and then spending the rest of the day preparing for the leadership debates, the French one on Wednesday night and the English and Thursday, both in Montreal. So Pierre Poilievre, though, did have a announcement this morning on protecting seniors from digital fraud, citing the example of some of these stories we've heard about seniors getting called up, and the perpetrators of these frauds use AI to simulate their relatives' grandchildren's voices and asking them to send parole money or bail money because they have been arrested in some of these scams. Lots of seniors have been ripped off by this. Poilievre says if he was to form government, he would introduce legislation to crack down on this and require cell phone companies and banks to take more steps to prevent this kind of abuse of seniors. Here's what Poilievre had to say.
This plan has a number of key steps. One, we will mandate real-time scam detection systems by banks and telecoms, starting with seniors' accounts. Two, we will require automatic flagging and blocking of suspicious activity like unusual transactions or robocall traffic. Three, we will create the Seniors Transaction Shielding Protocol, a 24-hour hold on a high-risk transaction for seniors or anyone else who requests this extra protection with mandatory verification before money leaves their accounts.
Now, Poilievre also today talking up some of his previous announcements on sentencing in criminal justice cases. He wants to see some mandatory sentencing brought back in, particularly for multiple murders, people who killed more than one person at once. He doesn't want those sentences served consecutively. He wants them served consecutively rather than concurrently, even though the courts have in the past rejected that. Now, Mark Carney, the Liberal leader, also in the Montreal area, he's out by the airport visiting Bombardier's aerospace facility there and talking up a plan about he was in Bombardier yesterday. He was at a truck factory today talking about a plan to increase government funding for worker training and retraining, talking about $15,000 for certain targeted industries to get people trained up on those things, some of them trades, some of them in AI, some of them in manufacturing. Here's how Mark Carney's message of the day today.
This approach will support Canadians in the middle of their careers who need access to skills training within established areas of critical need for our economy. We will support those employers in order to support retention and upskilling within their companies. People grow within their companies. The benefit will provide up to $15,000 per Canadian for training.
Now, Carney also said, he was asked a question by a reporter about this, about releasing the Liberal Party's platform. And he said that will be done before the advance polls, which open this weekend, close on Monday. So we'll see exactly what the timing is. Is he going to announce it on Friday after the debates? Is he going to announce the platform over the weekend or as late as Monday before the polls close? But this is, again, this is a trend we've seen in past election campaigns, is the parties waiting longer and longer to release their fully costed platforms, because once they put those out there, you give your opponents a target. NDP leader Jagmeet Singh also still has not released his, and neither has Pierre Poilievre, the fully costed platforms that are supposed to be vetted by, in some cases, by the parliamentary budget officer. Now, Singh was asked about, at his press conference today, his message was about bringing back the changes to the capital gains inclusion rate. Remember the Liberals, back before Justin Trudeau resigned, the Liberals had proposed increasing the rate in which capital gains are taxed from their current 50% of your capital gains. So those will be profits you made on, say, real estate transactions not involving your home or investments in the stock market. You would have to pay tax on 50% of those profits. Trudeau government proposed raising that to 66%. Mark Carney, when he became prime minister, he canceled that plan. Jagmeet Singh saying they should stay with it because the government is going to need revenues, particularly as we're heading into the situation dealing with the U.S. But Singh was also asked about that situation with the Honda plant in Alliston and the threat. Apparently this threat, as reported by a Japanese newspaper, that Honda is considering moving some of its manufacturing jobs from Canada and Mexico back into the United States. Here's what Singh said about that.
This news coming out of Honda is deeply concerning. This is potentially going to impact thousands of jobs in Canada and have a devastating impact on the automobile sector for the long term. And so it really highlights how we need to really fight back and get these tariffs removed, make sure that we can strengthen our automobile sector. We know that many sectors are being impacted, not just the automobile sector. Here in Quebec, people are still feeling the impacts because of the steel and aluminum tariffs. So it really highlights how important it is for us to fight back and for us to take care of those workers.
So that is likely the last we're going to hear today from the three main national party leaders. They are all going to be sequestered this afternoon with their staff working on debate prep. What they typically do is run through mock debates. They get some of their campaign staffers to pretend to be their opponents. So the Liberals will have somebody playing Pierre Poilievre. Jagmeet Singh will have somebody playing Mark Carney as they do these mock debates, running through their lines, figuring out where their candidate is most vulnerable. And of course, crucially for Mark Carney is continuing to practice his French. He was on a popular French language television show the other night called Tout le monde en parle. He got a chance to practice, kind of a dry run there. He looked kind of ill at ease. So this is going to be a real test for him on Wednesday night. He'll feel a lot more confident, I believe, on Thursday when the debate is in English. But all attention now in the campaign focused on those two nights right now because they're coming so late in the campaign. As you say, now less than 2 weeks before we go back to the ballot box. Guys.
So late in the campaign and the first time these federal leaders are meeting for the first time. All right, that is our Glen McGregor in Ottawa. Glen, thank you.